Hello, my name is Mage and welcome to Black and White Thinking. Here are some thoughts on the 5th season of the Harley Quinn animated series. I know it's late. I know I am basically an absent father on this channel at this point. Please forgive me. If you like this channel, please consider liking the video. I know I really don't deserve it at this point, but YouTube. Links to contact me are in the description below. Thanks as always, HARLEY gang. Okay, so hell yeah, or something. We're back to the good old days where I not only make content, but I talk about Harley Quinn. Mostly the animated show because Harley and Ivy do the kissing. Anyway, the show has been its best in season 5 in a lot of ways. The best it has been in a long time, and that feels worthy of coverage. So let's do that. I want to preface this video by saying I do not hate season 3 and 4 of Harley Quinn. I do, however, like them significantly less than seasons 1 and 2. I have rewatched them significantly less. I have watched the first 2 seasons more times than I could count. I have watched season 3 or 4 like twice, 3 times maybe. Season 1 and 2 of Harley Quinn contain some of my favourite episodes of television ever, and favourite LGBT+ stuff generally. And favourite portrayals of 2 of my favourite characters, Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, in anything ever. Season 5 was, in my opinion, much better than season 3 and 4. Season 1 and 2 of the show are so incredibly important to me. I mean, I wouldn't really have started this channel without those seasons, to be honest. Those 2 seasons were evocative, and they told a story that reached me at a time when I needed them. Seasons 3 and 4 are not bad. They are just different. They did not leave me with that special warm, fuzzy feeling that I had from the first 2, which was disappointing at the time because I was excited to watch Harley and Ivy finally be together as a couple on my television screen. At the time, I actually thought I would enjoy them more than the first 2, but such is life, and such is the endless disappointment and pain of getting invested in anything. Season 5, however, has been a delight, combining the heartfelt loveliness of Harley and Ivy's early show relationship with the slapstick silliness of the middle seasons. As I said, I think the Harley Quinn show is the best it has been for a while. I think Harley and Ivy's relationship has been written the best it has been for a long time. And on top of that, I'm enjoying the way they are being portrayed independently. Their relationship has slipped into a natural casualness of committed partners, the kind I think I was craving in the last 2 seasons. I also think the writers have managed to balance a lot of the last season with the new vibes of season 5. They are not dwelling on too much from last season, a lot of which I didn't necessarily believe was working for them. But they also haven't completely forgotten it either. Even at its most clownish, at its dumbest moments, this season has been fun. And obviously, I'm specifically talking about the episode in Wayne Manor, which felt like the writers went, we have an extra episode to fill, what should we do with it? And at its peak, this season was beautiful and lovely and heartbreaking, but in a good way. I watched the final episode in a Spanish airport with my best friend who I met because I cover this show on this channel, which is just like wild, mind-blowing stuff. It had us both in our feelings, is my point. Like, I was trying not to cry in an airport in a foreign country. That's pretty impressive for a show on season 5. So I'm just going to go through the season. In what order? Who knows? And just talk about what I liked and what I loved, and maybe the things I think could have been done a bit better. This will probably, absolutely, not be very coherent. I've actually lost the original notes I made during the season. I take notes by hand, but now I'm a mum and I don't sleep anymore, so I've just lost them. I cannot find them anywhere. Maybe they're still in Spain. I'm so tired. I'd probably lose my child if she wasn't so loud. So just bear with me as we walk through the wonderful ups and downs of Harley once more, and call me Virginia Woolf, because this is just going to be one big stream of consciousness. Number 1. First shout out. I really adore the casting of Harley and Ivy in this show. I've touched on it before, but I don't think I can overstate how much I appreciate Kaylee Cuoco? I can never pronounce her last name, and I haven't looked it up, and now I'm recording. I feel like I should know how to pronounce her last name. And Lake Bell, and the genuine heart that I feel when they are playing Harley and Ivy. It's obvious that just through their quality of work, they care about this show. They make Harley and Ivy seem so real and so close to how I've always wanted to see them portrayed. This Harley and Ivy are probably not the Harley and Ivy that I would write if I had my hands on them. But seeing them allowed to get the treatment other couples do, specifically Harley and Joker constantly do, has felt like such a treat, and it's one that the actresses don't take lightly. The treatment of adaptation, of interpretation, of validation is really special to me, and one of the only good things DC has done in the last decade. Harley and Ivy's relationship this season was just healthy in ways it hasn't been before, and was just super nice to watch. It was the break I needed. 2. There was not enough Babs in this season. There is never enough Babs anywhere. Justice for Barbara Gordon in every universe. She is so supremely underutilized, and I miss her. 3. The recasts were fine. I understand that the world is not perfect, and not everyone will be available, and whatever else happened behind the scenes. And I would much rather they recast Catwoman or Lex than decide not to have the show because casting didn't work out on a background character. I really enjoyed the work of the previous actors. Giancarlo specifically has such a unique voice. But ultimately, who cares? No one is watching the Harley Quinn animated show for Lex Luthor. 4. Lena was even fine. I enjoyed evil but not really evil Lena. She worked perfectly well as an antagonist this season. If this was the Lena Luthor show, I would want more, but it's not. I imagine most people's reference for Lena comes from Supergirl or maybe even Smallville, so this was a perfectly fine addition to the bunch. Again, did the job. My voice acting was good. Not a lot more to say. 5. Brainiac was also fine, but Stephen Fry sucks. I'm English, I'm allowed to say that. I think he's a weird dude who says weird shit. He's a rich old white guy who needs to be quiet more. His work here was fine, but tarnished totally by the fact that he was, him. And if you don't believe me about him saying weird shit, Google it. 6. Sean was great. He was fun. He was adorable. His use as a tool for foreshadowing was well done. I'll talk more about the concept of Harley and Ivy as parents in a bit, but using Sean to show Harley and Ivy before Frankette and how they would cope and what parenting would look like for them was A+ chef's kiss for me. 7. Continuing with the ensemble and background, I really don't want to forgive the Joker in any universe, ever. Conceptually and with Batman, I enjoy the Joker as a character, but I am a Harley stan first and everything else second. So screw him 1,000 times over with a blunt instrument. And there is a part of me that really wants to resist the Joker just being reduced to silly background man in a show that started off with him being the explicit violent abuser of our main queer female character. And ultimately I feel that way about Harley's parents too, but we'll talk more about them later because I do think there is slightly more nuance there. But yeah, complaining. The Joker is an arse and an abuser. However, my thinking that does not take away from the fact that the Joker just being a silly background man can be quite funny at times. At least in these later seasons. There is a little bit of dissonance for me between the earliest and latest seasons, but that does happen in shows like this, sitcoms specifically, especially with a revolving door of writers. I don't hate it, I don't love it, I am turning my brain off when I watch this version of the Joker in the later seasons. 8. I feel similarly about Bruce. If I ignore the fact that this is the Batman, then I kind of love loser Bruce. He is pathetic and enjoyable in this universe. 9, but related. I also really enjoy the background silliness of Joker and Batman's relationship here. Their relationship is one of the most important in all of DC history, in every universe, and sometimes acknowledging that means just having fun with it. Making homoerotic comments, because this is a show for queer people and it's safe to do so, is fine. Batman and Mr. J are forever soulmates in a very twisted way, so if I take myself away from the grander picture and just enjoy the universe for what it is, this universe, the Harley Quinn show, then Joker and Batman are a lot of fun. Specifically in this season, as far as running gags go, their whole relationship works. 10. I loved seeing more Lois, and a bit of Clark this season. As I said with Lena, if this was the Lois Lane show, I would expect more. But it isn't, so I'm just happy I got to see her and she wasn't entirely crucified by the narrative. 11. I love Bane's weird little family. I like this Bane, and he deserves some happiness. He's always been a comedy highlight for me in this show generally. 12. So, Jason Woodrue. What can I say about Jason? You know that Jisoo meme? This one?
Not bad, but not good.
That's basically how I feel about this storyline. On a positive note, I am really glad we saw him because I think his part in Ivy's story is integral. It shows the who, what, when, where, and why of Pamela Isley and her entire being. At least the part of her that becomes Poison Ivy. There is never enough good Ivy content in the world ever. Writers get her consistently wrong, and I appreciate that there was a level of interest here. I do think, however, it probably belonged earlier in the show overall. Part of me thinks that it was shoved into this 5th season because the writers think the 5th could potentially be the last. And they wanted to have this moment with Ivy that they had otherwise avoided. It felt as if they felt like they were running out of time. More confirmation and acknowledgement of Ivy's bisexuality is also good. If you think Poison Ivy is a lesbian, this is not the place for you. Poison Ivy is bi. I wish we had more Jason, more Floronic Man, more time to delve into the grooming and trauma that Ivy suffered as a young woman. I'm desperate for it. Gaiman aside, more on him later, briefly. Ivy deserves better storytelling. She is more than a love interest or a Batman villain. She is all that and more, and one day I hope we see it. We have had some okay Ivy in the recent years, at least in the comics, but nothing like I truly believe she deserves. I will forever maintain that she is muted by the DC higher-ups because of who and what she represents. So yeah, glad it was included, glad we had some Ivy flashbacks, as always. Wish there was just a little bit more. And I am going to stop myself here because I honestly could probably talk about this whole storyline for like another hour, and this video will never get made. Maybe we'll come back to it. 13. A totally random point, but something that I noticed and felt like mentioning. This season gave up on continuity. For example, a silly one where Harley in this season says that Bruce dressing up as a bat is not a fetish, after stating very clearly in the early seasons she thought that it was. My point is not really about bat fetishes or what was or wasn't forgotten by the writers. Mostly I just want to acknowledge that it was. And this is something that a lot of sitcoms do as they have many seasons. They give up character consistency for comedy, and I don't actually think it's a bad thing. I tend to personally be a character over plot person, generally. I can watch a character I love do the most mundane things, but watching a character I hate and don't understand have epic adventures is tedious. However, when it comes to writing comedy, the first rule is to be funny, and ultimately the writers chose that that came before everything else, which, yeah. The Harley Quinn show is not literary fiction. It's a silly little show about the clown lady and her plant girlfriend. I think the show does a good job and not completely losing character integrity while still playing around with the text enough to give us some laughs, which is not necessarily easy in season 5 of a show that has to rely on all things Batman themed for its humour. I think the show writers chose to do these things in order to make this season as cohesive as it could be, and I think that this is the best decision they could have made. 14. I also found the use of Harley's parents this season interesting. Harley's original episode with her parents, where they try to kill her, is one of my favourites. I can't watch it a lot because it actually makes me quite sad, but it's a really good episode of TV. I thought bringing back Harley's parents might have cheapened the blow a bit, but the use of them wasn't totally terrible. They were brought back for comedy purposes, like I was talking before, for silliness, and it did add a light-hearted feel to the season without completely erasing their arseholeness. Harley's dad is still the worst. Goodbye to him, good riddance. Harley's mum is a drunk who barely knows what day it is or very much about her own daughter, and they still treat her like shit. But Harley is a different person now. Whilst this is all exaggerated for the show, I feel like this represents a lot of the relationships I think some older millennials can have with their parents. Those of us who grew up in violent and less than perfect 90s homes often have to make peace with our parents as we get older without much resolution. No contact is perfectly acceptable, but for a lot of us, it's not a maneuverable reality. And I think Harley's relationship with her parents reflects that quite well. The whole plot line gave me big feelings, and just like the Jason Ivy stuff, it could probably carry a full essay on its own. There is something incredibly raw and exposing about seeing Harley and Ivy in these states. The states they were in before they became, well, Harley and Ivy. I really wish this was the type of show sometimes that allowed for more focus on these parts of their lives and histories. What I would give to have a Jessica Jones season 1 style show about Harley and Ivy created by women with women in mind, you know? The kind of show that has space to acknowledge the full weight of the trauma that these two characters have suffered and how it led to bad things and then ultimately good things in each other. I know I said that I'm okay with the show being silly, and I am, and that this is not deep literary fiction about feelings, but that doesn't matter. I don't wish that we could have Harley and Ivy together or separately, both explored in that kind of medium. It's a shame that so few writers that DC hires seem to be able to be trusted with Harley and Ivy. Nobody understands them. And not to be that person that's like, I understand them and you guys don't, but, you know, I understand them and DC doesn't. Well, the professional writers they hire anyway don't. Hire me and my friends, DC. We will make you lots of gay money. 15. I love the focus on family this season, specifically parenting. As a recent parent myself, with Bane, with Shark, with Harley and her mum, with Harley and Ivy and Frank and Frankette, I have always wanted to see what Harley and Ivy would be like as parents. I have like very specific headcanons around that. I think they would be pretty great. And Frankette may be a plant baby, but I love her regardless. I think this season focused well on the relationships between families and the past, and how we shouldn't repeat the mistakes made to us in childhood with our own children's childhoods, or even in our own adult life. Again, I loved Frankette, and whilst the death of Frank made me genuinely sad, I love the mother side of Ivy. And if I ever get around to finishing my Ivy videos, we will talk about it. Complete side note, but that video, because life, it was taking a long time to finish anyway. It's a huge project, but I finally got around to start rewriting it and like fixing it and making part 2 and 3. And then all the Gaiman accusations came out, and the next part of the video requires talking about Neil Gaiman a really big amount. And so I've had to rewrite it again, and I just do not have the mental capacity or time that I wish I did to dedicate to it, because it is such a big project and weirdly painful. Feminist thought on that scale can be a lot, especially when you are talking about a writer and the creation of Ivy as a character and her new backstory, and that writer is Neil Gaiman, who, if you don't know what I'm talking about or referencing, I would suggest just being grateful that you don't know what I'm talking about, but if you want to know, look it up. Neil Gaiman is a bad man, and he had a big hand in who Ivy is today and the Ivy that we know, and it's a lot, but hopefully one day we'll get there. Sometimes I think that project is so big that it may as well be a book rather than a video series. I could talk about Ivy for books. I really could. I could do the same with Harley, and maybe one day when I do have the mental capacity or time that I don't at the moment, I will write one. Anyway. There is a probably not really very comprehensive list of some thoughts on Harley Quinn Season 5. That really wasn't very insightful, and I apologise. Some final thoughts, or at least one final thought and feelings. Is this the end? As far as I can tell, there has been no renewal for Season 6 so far, and it has been a while since the last season ended. The renewals for the other seasons came pretty fast, if my memory serves me correctly, and honestly, the writing in this season, specifically near the end, felt as if it was written to be enough of a closed book so that the show wouldn't feel unfinished if it did end here, but also open enough that the writers could pick up in Season 6 if they were given it. I mean, it kind of sucks. I can't pretend that I'm not sad about the idea of the show ending. This show has brought a lot into my life. It's brought this channel, it's brought new friends. It has illuminated parts of me that had gone dark a long time ago and I thought might never be bright again. But ultimately, I am glad the writers had the sense to end it well enough, given the obvious limbo they are in. I'm glad Harley and Ivy are happy, and I'm glad we mended some relationships and healed some past hurts, and that we found future loves. I'm glad this show exists, that it has existed, and that I've had a chance to talk to you people in my screen about it over the years. Even when my videos are like this one, incredibly late and hardly academic in their analysis, this show has been important to a lot of people. A lot of sad, queer people who need a little joy every now and then. It has been a comfort, and for that I will remain eternally grateful. If this is the end of the Harley Quinn show, then 1, I will do some more in-depth analyses at some point, even a retrospective of the whole show. But 2, and most importantly, I'm glad we've shared this time and space together, friends. I really feel like the world has changed 1,000 times over since the first season of the show, since I first started discussing it on this channel. And I just want to say thank you all for watching alongside me. I am so grateful for the show, and that we got to see Harley and Ivy in this reality. But ultimately, I am thankful for you guys the most. Again, I really apologise that this video is really nothing special. But hey, at least it's done. If parenting has taught me anything about my art, other than how hard it is to make now, it is that any writing is better than no writing. If you have listened to all of this, well done. May the gods bless you. I will see you all whenever the next video is ready. Come find me on Insta or Discord if you ever want to chat.